Michelle and I are taking a Friday night trip to western Oklahoma. The weather is a little bit cooler. The grass is really green from all the rain that we've had, and we're just looking for an overnight trip out at the Alabaster Caverns State Park. Welcome back to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. Well, this trip is about looking at a state park that I've wanted to visit for a while. It's been on my bucket list, and also just kind of testing the Subaru, making sure all the equipment works before my son and I head off on our big trip. One thing I want to test is the Sea to Summit sleep system that I got. Another thing is I noticed that my coolant level was low in the tank, so I want to take a little bit longer trip, make sure that it doesn't drop back down. So that's kind of important. And three, I noticed that when I rotated the tires on the Subaru, that one of the tires actually had some damage on the sidewall, so I rotated out the spare, which is a real size spare, put it in the spare little tank in the back, and I measured it to make sure the tread depth was within acceptable limits for the symmetrical all-wheel drive, and it is. So I just want to make sure that that works okay, and yeah, I had to get my TPMS sensor to go off next, right? Alabaster Caverns is named for its caves. There are guided tours, and there is some free exploration or spelunking. This state park is northwest of Little Sahara State Park, along 412, about 20 miles north of Moreland.
Continue on Oklahoma 50A East for half a mile. Your destination is on the left.
Everybody get their glasses on here.
There's a reason why the campground is empty.
We're in 14. I don't see it. There's 7. The tent area of the Mesa campground is set up as multi-level terraces. And it is a little bit difficult to find a level spot, but we found one right behind the Subaru. We kind of moved the Subaru over a little bit and got things adjusted, and we got set up. We took, obviously, the Gazelle tent, and you could see along the tree line where the picnic table's at. Site 14 that we reserved is the farthest one down, so that's, I guess, our picnic table, but we set up our tent where it was level. The storage cases did fine against the wind, and that is where I kept the Kilimanjaro cots and the Sea to Summit sleep system that we're going to try out tonight. Only light stuff goes on top in these cases. These cots do take a few minutes to put together, but the combination of the cots and the pads, they ended up being very, very comfortable. We took a little stroll through the tent area. We were just a little bit puzzled about the grade of the tent sites. There really was not too many level spots where you could set up a tent, and frankly, I don't sleep very good if I'm like rolling off of my camp pad or off of my cot or sliding downhill. It just doesn't work for me, so I unashamedly took the most level spot in the tent area. I believe that this is Site 14 and its fire ring right here, the one we reserved, but there really was just not a level place to set a tent here.
Yeah.
I guess the fire ring would have been nice, but
Campsite,
yeah, not much of a place to set up in there. Pretty grass, pretty fence, nice protection from the trees, but yeah, not very level. This here is the open group camping area where a group can come and set up. It's all empty tonight. I love that view through the grass of the rolling prairie. We were losing light pretty fast. The sun had already set, and it was always a pretty western Oklahoma sunset. A little bit of wind and a little bit of dust usually makes it pretty any time of the year. We did decide to anchor down our tent, even though it was completely still and there was no wind at the time of our setup. It was just beautiful. It was like 4-mile-per-hour wind. We still tied it out because, again, in Oklahoma, the weather forecast is definitely not a promise, especially in western Oklahoma. We are settled in here at the Alabaster Caverns State Park. We're just out in the middle of a grassy field. We're not actually near our campsite. It just wasn't level enough near the campsite, and I like to sleep closer to level, so here we are. We're trying out a new sleep system tonight. We got these little Kilimanjaro cots, and then underneath them is a Sea to Summit air pad with some foam in it, and it is just pretty comfy. And then my Teton 0 degree sleeping bags and a little pillow here. So this is again just testing it out, make sure it's going to be comfy for 2 weeks traveling with Sam. We woke up to a very quiet morning, but right after I recorded that last clip at night, probably between 9:30 and 9:45, just a cluster of noise and pounding and vehicles came into the campsite, and it was 2 or maybe even 3 Boy Scout troops that showed up. They set up their tents. I was stunned by the volume of tents in the morning because they actually were very quiet and very well behaved compared to what I would have expected from a Boy Scout troop, a single Boy Scout troop, let alone the volume of tents that were in this camping area in the morning. They were well behaved. The best I can tell from several different maps is that Long Creek is the creek at the deepest part of this valley we're looking at. The fog in the background is coming up from the Cimarron River. I regret that I did not look closer at Onyx Off-Roads because there are public roads that go down into this area. I would have absolutely loved to have gone down there, but I failed to look close enough. I thought it was all private land. You can probably tell from my videos that I love morning. I love my coffee in the morning, and I love the newness of each new day, just as it starts out with new energy and new chances. The mesa side of the campground was green and lush with the spring rains. And there you can see all the Boy Scout tents that got set up in the night. The canyon too was super green with all the recent spring rains. It was beautiful. There was water running down in the canyon. I think that the Alabaster Caverns State Park is more than a Friday night stay after having been here, and maybe I'll make a return trip. Sleeping in the canyon campground would be great in the springtime. The Mesa campground was great, and exploring the caverns would also be fun. We hedged on exploring the caverns today because the tram began to fill with Boy Scouts, and we just decided to take a quieter option. But let me show you the rest of this canyon. By the way, that trail right there that you see is a public road, and that's the one I wish that I had gone down. It was time to pack up, and you just wouldn't believe this, but in western Oklahoma, when the sun comes up above the tree line, it just warms up really fast. I had to get into my shorts and t-shirt again to take down the tent. I know they advertised the Gazelle for some quick setup time, but I think the breakdown time is the quickest and the easiest of any tent I've had. Time to be a Boy Scout. Since the park store was open, I went down and grabbed myself a new sticker for Alabaster Caverns State Park. We opted out of the tram because all the Boy Scouts were hopping on, and we just thought we'd like a little more quiet. So that was a pretty good night out. Temperatures were moderate, like 50 at night, and today they're going to get up to 80. Right now it's about 70. Nice green, moderate temperatures, but yeah. We did not tour the caves. Yeah, I just didn't do that. But wow, what a nice little oasis in the middle of western Oklahoma. Nice place. Hey, Brian. Hey, how you doing?
Yep.
Can you? They were good kids. I mean, they were pretty. I would have never guessed when we woke up in the morning how many tents were sitting there.
They were all pretty quiet, huh?
Yeah. My brother Brian and I have a custom checking in with each other when we're camping. Not a bad idea. So we actually didn't even camp in a campsite that we reserved. We just camped in a level terrace. This area of western Oklahoma is also the land of some mesas. And Glossmountain State Park is one that we have driven by many times. We've only stopped and looked at it from the parking lot one time, but on our way home we decided that we had time to hike to the top and just investigate. So that's what we decided to do. There's not too many people out here in western Oklahoma, so the parking lot was pretty empty. The trail to the top of the mesa is a metal stairway at multiple points, and it's not that steep. There's small steps, so it's not that bad. I'm in my 50s and I didn't have any problem with it, but you know, just be aware if you decide to come out here and you have a knee problem that this probably isn't going to be the most comfortable. As we climbed in elevation, the views got better and better. All you had to do is turn around.
Even my short legs.
At the top of the trail, there was a little bit of a scramble, but it wasn't too bad.
Are your legs long enough, baby?
Yeah, easier to get up than it was to get down.
I'll put my phone in the pocket.
Here's that view again.
Oh wow.
Hmm? top of the mesa does give you some really good views, 360 degrees from the top. Hard to miss it. Way off in the distance there is the Cimarron River from the south. The same Cimarron River we saw casting off all the fog early in the morning. There are a lot of little lizards running around up here. Lizards and buzzards. Those are the wildlife. That light blue streak on the center right side of your screen is the Cimarron River. It was hard to miss the beauty up here. It was a gorgeous morning, bright sunshine, and very good visibility. This is the view of the eastern horizon, and in just a moment I'll flip the camera around, and this is the western horizon.
Actually does look like a vulture.
There were a lot of turkey vultures roosting up here all along the rocks, and especially when you get to the very end of the trail at the north tip of the mesa, there is a fence, so it's a little bit protected for them, and they have a roost up there. Yeah, it was beautiful up here. Flowers, little prairie grass, little red dirt, beautiful views, blue waters after the rain. I'm glad we stopped.
They're doing these slow movements across something. It's real pretty in there.
There's the fence I was talking about, and the buzzards hiding behind it. And in just a moment, you're going to see a buzzard probably try to buzz me. I don't think that he liked the fact that we were coming this close to where they were taking shelter, I guess, or roosting, whatever it was. But here he comes.
River?
See that one turkey vulture tried to buzz me?
The little mesa right there is at about 1,500 feet of elevation. It's called Lone Peak. Even though this was a quick one-night out weekend trip, it was well worth it. Alabaster Caverns was beautiful, and the views here, pretty much unbeatable. Yes, I'm hanging on. Well, this ended up being a great morning hike. If you ever want to come to Gloss Mountain and you're looking to hike and camp, there is an outfitter down the road to the west. It's called Gloss Mountain Outfitters. So you still can camp, just not in this area of the mesa. Hey, thanks for joining me for this episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. Come back.